We're moving towards the end of 2020, the year of reflection in all our lives. And it's the 6th of December. I'm home alone. And I was asked to talk about the Good News Post, which I introduced early on in the year when there was so much bad. And I want to talk about labeling and how our media has managed successfully to label all the intentions of all our politicians and all the things that go around that crisis that we've experienced this year. And they've labelled pretty much everything as bad. And the Good News Posts are a way of moving away from that, of challenging the status quo, and actually introducing a concept that if we break those labels, we can move away from that badness. And it got me thinking about things in my life. So I networked on Facebook with somebody who's not seen me since I was 17, an angry young schoolboy at Buckerstill County High, and ripped out of a very lovely life in Wales at a very early age, something that took me a long time to, modern terms, recover from. And I just wonder what George thinks of me, because he doesn't know the 50 years in between, never met me. And then when I left school, I ran a football team, and I took that anger onto the pitch, and people still talk about Ada, the footballer, and the escapades and exploits, which I'm not particularly proud of, but have gone down in history as labelling me as somebody that I'm no longer. And then Martin, beautiful guy who still introduces me in pubs to people as the youngest bank manager in Barclays Bank's East End. I was given Leighton to manage. I think I was 30, and it was what was called a support branch. But it was a proper job, and that's how Martin still introduces me. I left 25 years ago. The job itself was almost 40 years in my past. So then I went into restructuring, and in the bank, I was reasonably good, never appointed receivers, always helped companies with introducing helpful management to their teams, and then did it myself for 23 years in and around the London restructuring scene and New York. It took me all over the world. And then 5 years ago, I walked away from my partnership, and it was a very difficult experience internally, but here's what it gave me, and this is my message, if anyone's still listening, for Sunday on the 6th of December. And that is that these labels, whether they're from the media or self-badged, they stick with us. And we're seeing it now in the COVID, in 2020, people that are vulnerable and shielded. And I've managed, and I only realized it this year, to learn the art of walking away. So I walked away from my partnership, and I walked away from a charity that was involved in good, but it had political undertones. So I realized that as I walked away from those organizations, it was only then that I could understand how to walk towards. And I walked towards, 2 years later, I walked towards coaching and mentoring, and I realized that things that I just could not have done in my past became possible. And I've probably studied as much as a degree course hundreds of hours of getting all these certificates, which qualify me to be a good person and help other people. And my message of reflection in 2020 is that unless we learn how to walk away, it's very difficult to discover a new path where you can walk towards. I'm sure for some people it comes like a flash of lightning, a bolt out of the blue. It didn't happen to me, and I had to really let go of other things before I could do it. And the Good News posts are part of that, and it goes much deeper than now, as you can see, than LinkedIn. It goes into my past, my roots. It's made me a better person. And I hope it's helped people out there. But this message is that our labels stick with us for a long time. We are judged by what we did in the past, not on our intentions for the future. And I don't think I'll ever be judged as a coach or a mentor or a hypnotherapist. Maybe, but I suspect it'll always be that chap that did restructuring, that went into mentoring. If so be it. And that's my message. Have a lovely day, and think about how you can walk away, and therefore walking towards something new in your life, which you can hold and treasure in the next era. Thank you.